Mhm.
And when it comes to closing the deal, I get impatient how I had just got like at the end type shit, and then like it was just I I end up getting no profit or break even.
Know what that sounds like?
What?
Somebody that has to lock in.
Yeah, trying to see like wow, but it's good
Can't
that
believe you
chess
let me
kind of
win
like
that, man.
shows that because like that's really how it happens. Like with trading, like I have a great everything, but then when it comes to like just I don't know, like, fall apart. But I'm gonna hop on the class though.
All right, I'm gonna deafen real quick.
Um,
Yep. What's going on, team? Give me 1 second. Let me test this. Make sure everything is working. What's going on, team? Give me one second.
perfect.
Let me test this. Make sure everything is working. What's going on, team? Give me 1 second. All right, all right, all right. We shouldn't be echoing anymore. Give me 1 second. Once again. What was I doing? My bad. I was just tweeting the link, and I got the chat open. Was good, team. Let me look at Discord. Any questions in Discord? I think every question we had was discussed this morning in the live trading session. So that was pretty good. This morning's live trading session was really good. I ended up taking a small position a little bit, like an hour and a half, 2 hours after we had turned the stream off. It was off on gold. We could go over it real quick. Just a small trade. Gave up a lot of profits, though, I'm not gonna lie. But I was just babysitting the trade as we talked about. Again, just wanted something small. Once price, when we had left off, when I had gotten off stream, it was already 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's like a little bit right after the news that before the news hit at 11:15. Um, I kept looking at the chart. I saw that price had gave us again the inducement of the high. Never gave us a clean break of these highs. Gave us an exhaustion candle, and I wanted to take those trades back down, right? Once I took the trade, which was again as soon as we got the exhaustion candles, price had given us a nice 1 minute engulfing candle, gave us a change of character, gave us a break of structure. Once I started seeing that on the 5 minute, or I'm sorry, on the 1 minute, right, our EMAs were all downtrending. But when we go to the 5 minute and we look at the overall structure, right, because we have to just keep an eye on the overall structure, we understand that price was still giving us higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Right? In order for price to give us the continued push to the bottom, we need to see a valid break of these lows, which we ended up getting at the end of the day. But once we got down to these lows, which was at 11:30, saw that price was giving us exhaustion candles to the lows. Like, all right, we should have just gotten out. We should have gotten out of the trade there, right? Just to call it a day. Again, in order to not babysit a trade. If we would have gotten a clean break, then perfect, right? We know we're good, right? The fact that we never got a clean break, the pullback turns a little bit more 50-50. You have to hold this, right? So instead of cashing out at these lows, I ended up cashing out here at this pullback. So lost a little bit, gave a little bit back to the market, but it's all good. Let's mark it up like this. And again, the trade very similar to what EA was the other day. Just a trade from the top after the exhaustion back down to the bottom, all good. If there's a continuation later on, then perfect. If not, then okay, cool. This is where we're gonna start seeing price go back up. Right? This is why we have to always keep an eye on structure. The fact that we're in a zone of consolidation, I already knew price wasn't gonna give us STP for the day, and it didn't. Price did less, right? Because again, we're in a zone of consolidation. If price would have given us a clean break of these highs, this would have been different, right? I would have been looking for price to give us a break, higher high, higher low, and then this is where we would have been looking for price to give us STP back to the top side, right? But instead we're getting price to again just consolidate. So market structure is key when you're looking at any trades. And there was another question that Kendall had asked. He's like, how much did you risk for this one? It's like 1%, right? Because yeah, even though it was a nice trade, again, we understood that this trade really was just this small piece, right? And trading this small piece is not really an A plus setup, right? Again, I said I give it a B, right? It's not bad. You still passed. It's good. Was it a good setup though? No. A good setup would have been a trend, right? Perfect. We know that is more than just a pullback, and we're gonna get price to trend, right? Would have been 293 pips for today. Which again, gold is still not bad. Gold pays no matter what, right? 64 pips, cool with that. That's a regular forex day, regular currency trade. So we'll go over gold again. Just wanted to do that again. I'm gonna give everybody till 7:10, 4 more minutes, and then we will get started. Any questions, any pairs in specific that you want me to go over, let me know. Yeah, because we played chess on stream for like a good 45 minutes to an hour this morning. You're good, Kendall. He's he's watching the legacy match. Yeah, that's what I thought he was doing. The optic games. Watch party after. It might be finished. I think they finish at like 8. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell him to join Discord so he can put it on Discord. He'll screen share it. Cause I think they might be finishing up now. No bullshit. Again, gonna give everybody another minute. Any questions? Even for the people who are watching the recording, if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Feel free to leave the comments or the questions in the comments below. Or you can message me on X, Discord, whatever is easier for you. Bitty bitty bim 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 bim. Now let me tell you, I look crazy. I got a little tan today, and yeah, I'm white, bro. I gotta go see the sun more often. My arms are dark. Well, I literally have the outline of my tank top. Alright guys, let's get started. So this is going into Thursday, right? August 14th. This week's markets has been kind of not bad, right? Again, they're doing exactly what they gotta do, right? They're trending. Even though they're not trending with the overall trend, they're still trending, right? They're going from lower lows to lower highs. They're moving exactly how they need to move. So I can't be upset about that. when we're looking at AU, we know that again, we're in an overall downtrend. We're looking for that third push to the bottom. We've reached our first point of interest, right, to where price was going to give us that lower high push to continue the lower low all the way back down to these lows. However, before price could give us such a big move on the daily time frame, we need to start seeing the move develop on the lower time frames, right? And that would mean that on the 4-hour, not only do we have a change of character, which happens again after price had given us higher high, higher low, higher high, boom, lower low change of character. If price were to give us a lower high and then another break, then we know that we're going to start looking for that overall move all the way back down to the bottom, right? We'll be looking for that trend to develop. However, we got just a change of character, and we could see that price is still giving us internal higher highs and higher lows, right? Price doesn't look like it wants to turn around and make a lower high to go down into a lower low, and that's okay, because we know that the change of character could just be the inducement. Now your question would be like, oh, okay, well, if price doesn't want to go low here, how much higher could it go? And again, this is where our second point of interest, which is the 30-minute gap that we have, again, from the overall trends that we're trading lower low, lower high, lower low. I'm looking for price to give us an overall daily time frame lower high somewhere in this area. Again, why? Because we have a 30-minute gap. Not only that, if you're a person that wants to use fib retracements, right, where are we retracing to? Between 50% and the 61.8, right? So this is the area where I would want to start looking to take the trades. The golden ratio, if you will. It's a big zone on the daily time frame. So now you would be like, well, okay, if we want to see price continue, what do we want to start seeing? Well, first of all, in the 4-hour time frame, we want to see price turn around, give us a higher high break of the top. Right, another change of character to the top side, a break of structure, it'll give us that push to the top. Right, a 4-hour type 1 pattern. Hey brother, good evening. What's good, Albert? 4-hour type 1 pattern, exactly. Right, overall, what would this be? Or what does he mean by a 4-hour type 1 pattern? You have your zone of consolidation. Price breaks, gives you a double top. I could have gone a little further, but I ran out of space on my mouse, I'm not gonna lie. Right? And then we have something like this. This is something that could happen on the 4-hour time frame. Would be very probable. So we just gotta wait for the move to develop. That's okay. I'm in no rush. I don't have to take these trades going counter trend. I'll let price develop, do what it has to do. Once we get there, we get there. We wait for the bus to come. We still waiting. We're still making, again, higher highs and higher lows on the 30-minute time frame. So we are going to move this. Boom, higher low down here. Higher high over here. We have 2 days of rise. Perfect. Again, price doing what it has to do. We'll come back to AU. When could we take a trade? Perfect. Oh, but we want to take a trade going counter. All right, we don't have to take a trade going counter. Right? Just because I'm waiting for price to go up a little bit higher doesn't mean I'm not going to catch a trade. No. When would I catch a trade? On the pullbacks, right? On the shorts. When would that happen? Perfect. We have 2 days of rise. I'll give you guys a perfect example. Right? Again, where are we on the daily time frame? Right, just to recap, just in case people forgot. Where are we trading? Boom, alright, on a lower high. Not only are we trading at a lower high, again, lower low, lower high, lower low, boom, lower high. But we're also trading at the higher high on the 30-minute time frame. After a higher high is set, what are we looking for? Looking for a higher low, right? We're looking for a pullback. Now again, the question you would have to ask yourself when you're trading counter trends, this is the biggest reason why I don't trade counter trends. How far back is this pullback going to be? Right? Who's correct? Because again, you got the break that happened here. So let's talk about all the entry opportunities that you guys see in this area. All the traders who trade break and retest, they're currently in this trade. Right? So this is trader number 1. The trader who's trading double bottoms, currently in this trade. Trader number 2. Trader number 3, the trader who trades the bounces of the EMAs. So you currently have 3 different traders already in these buy positions going back to the top side. The ones who are saying this is where the higher low is going to be set. Let's look for a higher high. Then what else do you have in this area? You have the fib retracement traders. That is not a fib. That is a box. Don't know where that came from. Right? You have the fib traders who are looking for price to bounce off the 50 EMA. So you currently still have these traders who are looking for price to go short. Where are they going short? Because again, you have the traders going long. Well, let's talk about the traders who are going short. The traders who are still looking for this to go short are the traders on the lower time frame who are looking at what? And what does this look like, Kendall? I almost caught one today. Shoulder head shoulder. No, this looks like an alligator, man. Come on. You almost caught one today. Right? All jokes aside. What do we have? The short traders who are looking at this as higher high, higher low, higher high. Boom, we have a change of character. Lower low, lower high. What do you have here? Boom, a break of structure. Lower low, lower high. So again, you had 3 different type of traders going long in this area because of the 3 different confirmations, right? The break and the retest, the double bottom, and the 50 EMA. And now you have the other short, you have the long-term buyers who are currently short, right? Who want to see a pullback into this area. This is where they're in the shorts. So now you have a whole bunch of other short traders in this area. And you start looking for entry confirmations. What do you see? You have one engulfing candle going short. So you have sets of traders who still have sell limits in this area. You have another engulfing candle going short here. So you have a bunch of traders who are already in this trade. So how many traders, the point we're getting at. The reason why I stay out of getting trades here like this in this area is because you have a bunch of people in one area trading in a different way, going short and going long. Now, when you have strong confirmations that are giving you all the confirmations you need to see for price to go short, then you go short. Vice versa. Once we start seeing that price internal is giving us higher highs and higher lows, instead of this lower low, lower high just trapping traders, that's when we get in on the higher low to go back into the higher high. So again, the reason why I'm not interested for the people who are looking for this to go up, right? I'm not interested in this because price right now is still giving us lower low and lower high on that internal time frame. As soon as we start seeing higher highs and higher lows, perfect. We'll start getting in, we'll go back to the top side. That's the job of the market makers, to induce traders, exactly. Right? I feel like I had to explain that a little bit differently every single time. I know that was a pretty long example, but I wanted to make sure that it makes sense to everybody. And again, if it doesn't, let me know and we'll go back to it. Like, yo, I didn't really understand that. Can you say that again? I'm cool. This is what I'm here for. And again, everything is traded the exact same way. So I don't have to go through that example every single time. You definitely could, right? Again, if you need me to, I definitely could. But, you know, I like my, you know, I don't like to repeat myself a million different times. But if it's not clear, then you know, it's all good. But this is really all the same thing, right? Like we'll go over the daily time frame as always. AUD CAD. We're in the first zone of consolidation on a downtrend, which is called A1. On lower time frames, right? If we go to the 4-hour, if we go to the 30-minute time frame, we're also stuck in lower time frame zones of consolidation. Now again, remember, we're overall looking for price to go down. Okay, overall, we're at the bottom of the zone of consolidation, where price had given us a lower low. Right, on that push of the lower low into the lower high, it gave us a zone of consolidation. Now again, what does this mean? When price is trending, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, price is going to do two things. Either give you a nice trend, lower low, lower high, back to the lower low, or it's going to give you a zone of consolidation where instead of it just being a simple trend, what do you have to look for? A break, right? For a continuation, you would want to see a break, retest to then continue, right? Or you're going to wait for price to give you the inducement of the highs, the way that it did all this entire time, right? Give you another inducement of the high to go back from the top back to the bottom. It's not that you're going to catch the trade from the top all the way to the bottom. No, because before you catch a trade all the way to the bottom, you need to see the break first. Now, is there times that you'll get a break of the bottom and then you'll get a very steep pullback back to the top side? Yeah, once in a while you'll get that confirmation, right? Once in a while. But the market makers aren't going to give you a free 3 million pips. They're definitely not going to do that every single time. Could you get lucky? That's another one where you catch it from the top and you went all the way to the bottom before the break. Again, yeah, absolutely. But again, how many times did price reject highs and reject lows before it gave you the break? Right? Every single time. So I would rather catch what's 100% going to be given instead of trying to catch a home run that still doesn't have that confirmation. Right? So now it's a clear breakdown of how that could be mistaken for shorts if you're too zoomed in. Don't look for STP to get hit in zones of consolidation. Yep, that's key. If you're in a zone of consolidation, you can't go for STP. And again, the example is there for gold. Right? Again, everybody's trying to hit home runs on gold, but gold is in a huge zone of consolidation. So it's like, again, it'll be delusional of us to believe that price was going to be giving us 293 pips in a zone of consolidation where price hasn't given us a break of the high or a break of the low. Price is just moving sideways. That's what a zone of consolidation is. Could you trade in the area? Absolutely. But you have to babysit the trade. Because at any point, if you think price is just going to go from the top to the bottom, when you have all of these points of interest where price has to break before even reaching these lows, right? There's a whole bunch of things you have to take into consideration. Like price isn't just going to melt, especially on a day where there's no news. It never does that. It never does that. You're always going to get a break and a retest, a break and a retest. If you don't get a clean break, you get an inducement, it goes back to the top side, or vice versa. Right? So, just keeping that in mind. That is very important though. In areas where STP is not going to work, again, especially in zones of consolidation, market structure is your friend. And that's funny because there was a question this morning. I think it was Bashir that had asked, Mr. Bashir. He was like, oh, what's more important? Or I think it was Albert. I don't know. It was somebody this morning. What's more important than market structure, you would say? And it's like, there's really nothing. Like, market structure is the number one thing, but there's so much more that comes into it. Like, again, ADR, STP, candlestick analysis, right? Exhaustion candles, you know, continuation candles when you're looking for engulfing candles. But again, all of that is just entry confirmations. And again, I could teach you entry confirmations. And what are entry confirmations? Double bottoms, order blocks, ICT, smart money concepts, SRC, right? Soup turtle, all of those are just entry confirmations, right? Double bottoms, double tops, Fibonacci retracements, the engulfing candles, those are all entry confirmations. How do you differentiate higher probability entry confirmations versus the low probability entry confirmations? And that all has to do with market structure. Because again, if you're taking a double bottom when price is at a higher high, it doesn't matter whether you know what a double bottom is or a correct one is, you're going to lose that trade because you're trading a double bottom at a higher high. You get what I'm saying? So that question was a little bit difficult to answer because there really isn't. Market structure is king above everything else. It doesn't matter what you know, what you don't know. Market structure is going to save you from taking unnecessary losses. So just to rewind, right? On the 4-hour time frame, we know that we're back at these highs, but these highs are not 4-hour highs and lows. This is internal move. So this is all 30-minute, but we could see it on the 4-hour, and that's okay. Market structure and where you enter and exit. Yep. This is all 30-minute zones of consolidation. So we have higher high, higher low, higher high. Did price give us a clean break? No, it gave us an inducement. Cool. After the inducement was done, right, this is where we go down to the lower time frame. And on the lower time frame, right, the number one thing I want to see is the 30-minute, right? What are the EMAs doing on the higher time frames, lower time frames? Right now we're still uptrending. Right, technically we're still downtrending on the daily. On the 4-hour we're definitely uptrending. Right, on the 1-hour we're uptrending. On the 30-minute we're uptrending. But now that we go on the lower time frames, the 15, the 5-minute, this is where we start downtrending. Right, lower time frame, we do have like what I was saying. Right, we do have fucking higher high, higher low, higher high, change of character, lower low, lower high, we have lower low. Right, we could say that the opening candle, you know, could we argue and say that this is lower high, lower low? Yeah, sure, whatever, because we did get a clean break, we got a retest, price continued. So as long as we're still downtrending on the lower time frame, I'd be expecting price to continue. Now ideally I would love to have had something else up here, whether it was an engulfing candle, whether it was one of the EMAs, whether it was market structure on the higher time frame. Again, if this really would have been 4-hour highs and lows instead of us just being in the middle of an overall move, I think that would have made this trade a little bit more simple to be like, you know what, yeah, I'll be expecting price. Because again, even on the 4-hour, we're looking at the weekly outcome. Like, yeah, we're again still stuck in a zone of consolidation, but we could still see higher low, higher low, higher low. The same way that we could still see higher high, higher high, higher high. So, want to be careful with this one, man. Want to be careful with this one. Again, regardless, this is where you have to make a decision for every single pair that you look at. Right? You're either gonna make a decision to just sit it out, wait for structure to play out. Once it confirms a little bit more, then you take the trade, or you're gonna have the type of people that want to get in right now when they're confused still, when they're when you have to double guess, double take, whatever it is, what market structure is doing. Right? If you have to question this, there's no point in even taking it. Just wait for structure to play out again. So again, we'll keep an eye on it. There's nothing wrong with that. Euro AUD, we're in level 3 on an uptrend, waiting for price to continue to push to the top side. Again, we're pretty much stuck in a zone of consolidation, where once again on the higher time frame, we're stuck in a big zone. On the 4-hour time frame, we're stuck on a smaller zone, and we go down to the 30-minute time frame, we can see the entire zone that we're stuck in, from the high to the bottom. Again, the same trade that we've been talking about since the one that we took on Wednesday, from the bottom back to the top, gave us a rejection, went back to the bottom, gave us another rejection yesterday, came back to the top side, gave us another rejection, right? Boom, came back and is still just in a zone of consolidation. And we can see that on the 30-minute time frame. That's a horrible line, right? We're pretty much stuck on a lower time frame, zone of consolidation. Now, a lot of traders would be saying, oh, this is a flag pulse pattern. That would be incorrect. Again, on the lower time frame, you are being tricked, you're being induced to get into a trade, and I feel sorry for you. Right? This is not a flag pulse pattern. May look like one, but it is not. You're stuck in a zone of consolidation. This is not the right time to be looking for a flag pulse pattern. We have a day of no net. Again, the good thing about this is that we are still making higher highs and higher lows. We did technically get a change of character and a break of structure, right? And again, I am looking for price to continue this push back to the top side. So there's no doubt that we're in an uptrend. However, when we're talking about looking for an entry, this is not the right time to be looking for an entry. Not yet. When we're looking at EURUSD, we know that EURUSD is in peak high territory, so I am not going to be trading this one. Right? We still don't have a clean break of the daily high. And this was a question for somebody who took this trade, right? Was it Albert? I think it was Albert. Right? On the 4-hour time frame, we still don't have a valid break of the highs. And on the 30-minute time frame, price gave us again higher high, higher low. Whoa, what happened? Right? Into a higher high. Right? And we're trading in this higher high. We have 2 days of rise. Could price give us a third day? It could. Definitely it could. Again, what I don't like about EURUSD, right? The reason I wouldn't be looking for a continuation, we still don't have a break of the highs. Price just gave us an exhaustion candle. It gave us an inducement of the high on the daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, it failed to give us a break of structure. It gave us just inducement candles, exhaustion candles, went back to the lows. If you want to go down to the 30-minute, 1-hour time frame, same thing. Right, not really on the 30-minute, but on the 1-hour, you got the exhaustion candle. Right, if you go down to the lower time frames, maybe. Nah, not really. But you definitely got them on the 30, or I'm sorry, on the 1-hour, 4-hour daily time frame. So, want to be careful. Want to be careful with this trade. Euro USD is very similar to GU. You know, this is another pair that I wish we would have gotten a steeper pullback before making the moves that is making. Would have felt a little bit more confident with that trade. Very similar to the reasoning for ACAD, right? Or I'm sorry, for AU. We have a gap at the bottom of the market where price would be giving us higher high, higher low, higher high. And this pullback would be that higher low that we're looking for, right? Not only will it fill that 30-minute gap, but we also know that in level 2, again, we are in level 2 on an uptrend. Push 1, push 2, and we're looking for that pullback. We're looking for price to bounce off the 200 EMA. With that being said, this pullback would have been so much better. And you're probably asking, well, you know, what's the difference between EU and GU? Let's pull that up real quick, just so we're all on the same page and see it at the same time. Right? If EU's structure on the daily time frame would have looked like GU's structure on the daily time frame, and we're trading in the same area. We're in level 2, we're looking for an uptrend. Level 2, we're looking for price bounce off the 200 EMA. Same exact thing, higher high, higher low, higher high, gave us a higher low onto the 200 EMA. Right, this is GU. If EU would have done this exact same thing, and this exact same thing would have been playing out on EU instead of it being just this baby pullback, I would be more confident in taking these trades back to the top side. However, just another reason as to why I'm not confident in these highs to continue is because on the lower time frame, we are still trading lower low, lower high, lower low. But again, it's all about just looking at the left hand side. Right, what do I mean? Okay, cool. I don't like how the daily time frame looks. 4-hour doesn't look that good either, but it looks a little bit better. Right, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is just a higher low. Right? So just understanding, okay, cool, yes, I want to see a steeper pullback. Could this technically still be that higher low point? 100%. And everything you see in the internal structure is just that internal structure. Price going from higher high to higher low. In order for price to go from higher high, higher low, price needs to drop, right? It needs to drop, and then it's going to start making higher highs and higher lows to go back into the higher high, right? So we'll see. EU is again in an area where I am really still expecting price to go lower. So let me delete some of these drawings here. Whenever price gets to the most recent lower high, which are going to be these highs up here, this is where I'm really going to start looking to see if price is going to break, right? To, continue to catch that trend back to the top, or if price is going to give us that pullback, right? Give us an inducement of these highs somewheres, to then go short. I do like the fact that we have a change of character. We have a break of structure to the top side. At the break of structure, it gave us a zone of consolidation, exactly what we just talked about. Right, a zone of consolidation. It gave us a daily engulfing candle that price never tapped into. That's okay. Gave us a nice double bottom. It did give us internal break of structure, change of character after the inducement, back to the top side. Right? Did it give us a clean break? It did. It gave us a clean break of structure. We have 2 days of rise. Could we be looking for a 372? Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything is lining up for this to look like a pretty good trade for tomorrow. Right? This is still in my category of trades. Would still call it a B setup. It's still not A plus. Why? Because we're still trading at these higher highs on the daily time frame. Is the only thing that's not comfortable about taking this trade. Right? So going to be careful. But let's see any confirmations on the lower time frames. No, we still again just have this daily engulfing. And at that point, do I believe price is going to give us a pullback to here to then go back up? I don't think so. We have no news for the rest of the week. I think we even have Euro. It's a Euro holiday, I think, either tomorrow or on Friday. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of uh, volume in the market for the next couple of days on EU. Now could it give us, let's say, a third day of rise, and then it finishes on a rise no net or on a rise drop, right? And then tomorrow's Thursday, right? Friday price comes down, gives us a touch to the daily engulfing, and then continue the push. Could it do something like this? Maybe. You know what? We're gonna keep these drawings on screen for EU, and we're gonna go from there. Let's also mark this as a 372, just so we're aware of what we're looking for when we get back on the charts tomorrow morning. Gonna be an interesting trading day tomorrow. I'm gonna start speeding up here, guys. It's already, we're 40 minutes into this. So GU, we know we're in level 2 on an uptrend. First push, first zone of consolidation, V1. We had to break higher high, higher low. We're back at the higher high. Price then went down. Price then went down, gave us the higher low, right? Looking like price wants to continue back into the higher high. We just skipped a whole bunch of pairs, right? Or am I tripping? It's alright, we'll go back to it. Lower time frame, 4 hour. We know we're trading higher high, higher low, higher high. Price gave us the inducement, change of character back down to the lower low. So very similar to what's happening with EU, right? Once we made the lower low, price is now pushing up. Now, in order for me to be comfortable to continue to look for these buy positions on GU, I need to see price break these highs over here. Right? These are internal highs that I'm looking for price to break. Let's change this to green. Why? Because could this be where price is going to give us a lower high, right? After price gave us a lower low, could this be the lower high to continue back down? Absolutely. So we're going to be looking for price to give us that break. Right? And currently we have a day of rise. We have 2 days of rise. Am I going to say that this is higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high? I might have to, just for the sake of the structure. Continue to look for these pushes. 2 days of rise. The third day push already gave us that third day push. We were on EU. Did I do these? GA? No, I'm tripping. I skipped a whole bunch of pairs, huh? Alright, let's speed up on here. So GA, we're in peak high territory, so I'm not gonna be trading this. Alright, 2 weeks already gave us third week. We have a 4-hour engulfing that price hasn't tapped into yet. Price gave us 2 days of rise. We're in peak high territory. We have a change of character. Right after the change of character was made, it gave us higher high, higher low. Right, so let's grab this. Give me a second, guys. My bad, guys. Give me 1 second. Gotta send some cash. Today's the 13th. Sorry about that, guys. So for GA, I want to see price to continue, right? The fact that I'm not, again, not high probability, price already reached our 30-minute highs, right? So yes, even though we would have a nice 372, the fact that price didn't give us a clean break of these highs to then give us a retest or a pullback is the reason why I'm not comfortable. Now, could price redeem itself and give us that break and then the pullback still? Absolutely. But at that point, what I'm really aiming for was for that 372. Right, so we'll see. You know, we do have a little engulfing candle here, but price had already tapped into it multiple times. Very low probability. I believe that candle also doesn't have a red wick at the bottom, so it's not even a valid engulfing candle. So you want to be careful, guys. Want to be careful with this trade. I'm not going to mark it just yet. I want to see a valid break before I take the trade. Once price gives me a valid break, then we'll start looking to take that. For GCAD, price already gave us 3 days of rise. After 3 days of rise, market must go down or move sideways. We're trading higher high, higher low, all the way to the top side, higher high over here. Right, so we already know that for tomorrow, this is not a pair that I'm going to be looking at. Overall, on GCAD, where are we? We're trading in level 3 on an uptrend, waiting for, or continuing to look for price to go up to reach our previous peak highs at these highs. Currently, when we're looking at the structure that's been given to us, we're stuck in a little zone of consolidation where price is rejecting highs, going back down to the bottom, just moving sideways. So I like the fact that GCAT is pushing up to the top side, right? The same way that we loved it when it did it here, right? Now, in order for me to feel comfortable to continue to look for these trades back to the top side, I need to see price give us a break of these highs. Once we get a break of these highs, that's when I'll start looking to take these trades. Right, so all good. Price went from the bottom back to the top side, no problem. Right, did we miss out on some of these trades? We absolutely did. At the bottom, we had the change, we had the break, we had a 1-hour engulfing candle. Wednesday of 2 weeks ago, I believe. All right, a week ago, that would have been a really nice trade. 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. After 3 days, the market must move sideways or go down. We moved sideways, right? Then price gave us 1 day, 2 day, and gave us the third day yesterday. Would have been a beautiful, beautiful trade. Doing exactly what it needs to do. The 50 crossed above the 200. We started bouncing off the 50 EMA, which is exactly what we're looking for on level 3. Right, boom. Higher high, boom, higher low. Higher high, boom, higher low. Off the 50, boom, higher high. Right, higher low, boom, off the 50 the entire time up until Asia session. higher low, higher high, all the way to the top side. 372, beautiful. Like GCAD was doing exactly what it needed to do. GJ, not really trading GJ. We're still in higher high, higher low at the push from the higher low into the higher high. We got into a zone of consolidation where price is rejecting these highs and rejecting these lows. So very similar. I'm not going to be looking to take any of these trades on GJ until we get a valid break of these highs on the 4-hour time frame. Did we get a valid break? Not yet. Right? Let's delete some of these drawings so we can clear some space of what we want to see. Right, we want to see a clean break of these highs. Did we get a clean break? Not yet. Right, I need to see another green candle close above these highs over here. The fact that we're still touching, still break of structure, still not a valid break, we'll wait it out. Now, if price gives us this inducement and it gives us a steeper higher low, then we'll be no longer looking for these highs. Then we'll be looking for price to break these highs. So we'll be patient. This doesn't look like a valid engulfing candle either. It doesn't have a top wick. Oh yeah, it does. We have a little top wick here on the 4 hours. So if price gives us an engulfing candle in the next hour and 12 minutes, you already know GJ is gonna go down. We still have another day of rise, man. Like GJ doesn't stop. It gives us that break, man. Understand that GJ is just going to continue to fly. That's a good thing about GJ. Now we didn't get a valid break here, so I'm not gonna mark this just yet as higher high, higher low, higher high. Again, if price gives us a valid break of these highs, right, this is where I'll be expecting price to give us another pullback to then continue. However, if price starts to downtrend, which I'm going to be looking at these lows over here, if price comes to these lows and gives us a break, this is where we'll see price continue that push back down to the bottom. Right, so I'm going to be careful with whatever pair this is, with GJ. Wait for price to do what it has to do and then we'll attack. Right, we went over GU already and we can see that price is pushing up. Gonna be keeping an eye on that high. NZD USD, we're at the bottom of the zone of consolidation in A2, looking for that third and final push back to the bottom. At the bottom of the zone of consolidation, when we look at market structure on the lower time frame, we're in a zone of consolidation where price is again just moving sideways. And if we go down to the lower time frame, we go to the 30-minute structure. Inside of this, we were trapped in another zone of consolidation where price gave us a change of character, higher high, higher low, gave us a break of structure, higher high, back to the top side, gave us 2 days of rise. Now, this is moving counter trend. Just be aware that yes, this trade is counter trend. Now, could price give us a steeper higher low? Absolutely. I'm sorry, a lower high. Absolutely, because again, we're trading lower low, lower high, lower low. Could price here give us a lower high to go back to a lower low? Absolutely. Could it go here and give us lower low or lower high into the lower low? Of course. It could push up to here, it could push up to here, it could push up to here. Right? So it's all about waiting for price to give us that confirmation, and price hasn't given us that confirmation yet. So that means that price is still pushing to the top side. And we're seeing that happen on the 30-minute time frame. So we're going to be patient, with NU. Oh, dirty 30. 2 days of rise, very similar to GJ, right? We're waiting for price to give us a valid break of these highs. We're at all-time highs. I'm not going to be trading it until we get a valid break. We still don't have a valid break on the daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, no valid break yet. We need to see price break these highs. At this point, you know, we were looking for price to break these highs initially. Price failed to give us that break. So I'll be looking for price to break these highs now. After it gave us the pullback, we're back at the highs. We need to see price break all of this. So a little bit to go on the 4-hour time frame. However, if price just continues to break on the daily, then at least we know that we could catch these continuations back to the top side to then wait out to see if price wants to give us that break back to the top to continue, or if price is going to turn around in that area to go back short. So if I were to just mark this up just so it can make sense to everybody, right, on the daily time frame, everything is color coordinated, right? Gray box is daily time frame. Sorry, this is supposed to be on the 4 hour, not the daily. 4 hour time frame, right? At one point we were looking for price to break these highs, right? Price never broke. Instead, it gave us the inducement candles, right? Boom, boom, boom. All of these were inducement candles. It opened with a gap, so this is not a valid break, right? So we're looking for price to break these highs. Now, on the daily time frame, the reason I was on the daily time frame, right? Which still on the daily time frame is kind of, I don't know why I have this here. Let me take a step back here. Daily, we had higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, change of character. Right now, I think we would have to kind of say that all of this is part, right? And the daily time frame we're trading is here, right? I'm not gonna say, right? Instead of saying that this is higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? I'm just saying all of this is part of the same structure, right? Regardless of where we put it, whether it's here or here, it's the same thing. Right, we're still trading between these highs. So now, I should have done this a while ago. I saw this and I just got lazy with it. That's on me. You can see that price never broke these highs. Now, if we continue, we can see that price never broke these highs. So now we know, okay, on the daily time frame, we're trading at all-time highs. Right, on the 4 hour time frame, we know that we're trading at all-time highs. Right, so now that we go on the 30-minute time frame, what do we know? Same thing. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We know that this was the inducement. Never gave us a valid break because it happened with a gap. Right? Price went down and gave us a lower low back down to the bottom. So we know that we're trading between these 30-minute lows and these 30-minute highs. Right? So look at all the room we have left to play with. We know that we could take another trade back to these highs. Once price reaches these highs, this is where we need to take a step back because we're either going to get the rejections, or this is where we have to be patient, wait for the break, the retest, to then continue back to the top side. Right, so we want to be patient, or you know what I'm saying? Like we could still take these trades, but let's be patient, right? The same thing that we were looking for today, which I thought this was going to happen at the top of the zone of this consolidation, but price just ran through it, gave us a little break, retest to then continue. Right, so sometimes you're wrong about the direction, but it's about catching yourself being wrong. And it's like, okay, well, I'm wrong, all good. I'm gonna sit on my hands, wait for price to develop again. Nothing wrong with that. And do I have water? I'm talking like a fucking crazy person today. I'm talking a lot, man. I haven't eaten today either. I gotta eat some food, bro. I'm gonna make some fried rice. So let's finish this up, man. I'm hungry. USD CAD, right? What do we know? We know that we already finished our 3 levels to the top side, right? This was our pattern before: push 1, push 2, push 3. Then it gave us push 1 to the top side, push 2, push 3, reached our previous peak high. Then it gave us the inverse shoulder head shoulder on the daily time frame, gave us the first push now back to the bottom side, and we're stuck in the first zone of consolidation. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is, once again, the fact that on the daily time frame we're still trading higher high, higher low, higher high. Could this still be a higher low to continue into a higher high? 100%. Right? 100%. So, want to be careful. Again, the good thing about it is, like, alright, let's say we are at the higher low. Okay. When we're looking at internal structure, what did price give us? A zone of consolidation. So regardless, in order for us to be like, okay, this is a higher low to continue into a higher high, what needs to happen? Right? Price needs to break these highs on the internal time frame. Right? And we already know, well, okay, cool. If price doesn't break these highs, then what's price going to do? It's going to give us the inducement of the high and go back down. And what does this really convert to? Right? A very strong zone of consolidation. Because right now, all we have is price doing this. Price hasn't given us another retest of these highs. If price gives us another retest of these highs, then we know we're going to go back down and we're in the zone of consolidation. Right? It's a stronger set, it's a stronger confirmation that yes, we're starting that downtrend push and we're going to continue. And we can now say that we're trading in A1 on a downtrend instead of saying that we're in level 3 on a rise, right? On an uptrend. So these are the things that we have to wait for. And again, it's okay if price doesn't give us the first zone of consolidation. We know that we're just part of the same trend and we're going to go back to the top side. Right? And then that'll give us a confirmation that, okay, cool, we're still on an uptrend. Let's turn this around. We're going back to the top side. We got a break, a retest, boom. We could take these trades back to the top. Easy, clean structure back to the top side. Right? So it's just about adapting to how the market is reacting to these levels. Right? So AUD CAD. Let me go ahead and delete some of these drawings here. And again, I hope that made sense. If it didn't, let me know. My bad. I thought I had music going. I'm like, oh, I can't play music on YouTube. I'll get banned or we'll get copyrighted. But it's not music. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if you guys could hear it. 2 days of drop. So gonna be careful with USD CAD. Get internal, even external structure doesn't add up yet. Right? So I'm gonna wait for price to just develop a little bit more, so then we can start taking this. Price is just kind of consolidating in here the last couple days as well. USD ZAR went to our 4-hour lows, perfect. Gave us another day of rise, or sorry, 2 days of drop. Still giving us lower low, lower high, back down into these lower lows down here. Where is the 30-minute high? Gold, again, not really trading USD ZAR until we turn around. Gold, we already went over this. We're still stuck in the zone of consolidation. We have 2 days of rise, but again, the fact that we don't have a valid break of these highs just yet, not really comfortable taking these positions. But again, doing exactly what it needs to do. It just gave us a little push to the top side, higher high into the higher low. Looks like price wants to continue. So we'll come back to gold tomorrow. Bitcoin doesn't close for another 2 minutes, but it did give us 2 days of rise, man. And man, 123,000 looks nice. I can't lie. Same thing though. Looking for price to give us a valid break on the daily time frame. We got 56 minutes for this candle to close. Again, this would still be an inducement candle. We would want to see another daily candle close above this one and give us a valid break. On the 4-hour time frame, same thing. We got 45 minutes for the close. This is the first candle above the highs. This is still an inducement. We would want to see another 4-hour candle close above this 4-hour candle, close above the wick without touching the break of structure line. Right? And then on the 30-minute time frame, we did get a valid break. Right? The valid breaks happened here, but again, we're trading at a higher high on the 4-hour and the daily time frame. Could we get a higher low? Just another pullback back down to the bottom? Absolutely. Right? 1000%. We got the change of character, got the break of structure. Good day. Did not check my gold. I did. It was one of the first pairs that I did earlier because we took a little trade on it this morning. It was one of the first pairs that I did. Let me know if you go back to it, and if you have any questions, let me know. And then the last pair, US oil, right? We had lower low, lower high, right? And I'm very, I want to say all of this is part of the same trend. I'm not going to say that this is lower low, lower high, back into the lower low, right? We're just going to say that all of this is part of the same structure, the same trend. You have 2 days of drop. Could we be looking for a third day? I mean, again, it looks very promising on oil, right? We'd love to, but the fact that we're trading at a lower low, again, just makes this not so good. And again, what do I mean by a lower low? We're looking for price to give us a valid break of these lows, and we did get them, right? Price was consolidating, gave us the break. We're trading at a lower low. Could price give us a lower high, lower low to then, I'm sorry, could it give us a lower high to go back into a lower low? Absolutely. Right? Could this give us a little type 3 pattern, which I think is going to happen, where price gives us a break or retest to then continue? 100% as well. So again, I just want to be very careful with US oil. I'm not a fan of trading at the lower lows, but if price gives us confirmations, then hell yeah, we'll take this. Right? And our confirmations would be if we have an engulfing candle, which we don't have on the 4, nothing on the 1 hour. On the 30-minute, I don't really see any engulfing candles, right? Nothing, right? 15-minute maybe, right? So we'll have to be vigilant with this pair. Go on the lower time frame, right? If the lower time frame, let's go ahead and delete some of these highlights because I can't take that. Right? What do we know about the lower time frame? Again, lower time frame is giving us lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Gave us a nice little break, lower low, lower high, gave us a lower low inducement. And then now we start turning around. Boom, change of character. Higher high, higher low. Looking for a valid break. Did you get a valid break? Yes, boom. Higher high, higher low. EMAs are still uptrending. Still looking for price bounce off to 200. Right? It's going back up. This is all internal time frame until where? Until you go to your left hand side. Where does price need to break? We need to break these highs and we need to break these highs. Take a little trade, boom, here. This is where price is either going to reject to continue, right? Or we're going to get a clean break to then continue back to these highs. Once we get to these highs, same thing. Looking for the same thing to happen, right? Once you get this break, that's when you get the final push. That's when you really get like, oh, you get this break, you're going back up. Right? Again, it would make sense because when you exit out and you look to your left hand side, what are you looking for? You're looking for price to give you a lower low, lower high, lower low. We know we're looking for a lower high to be set. Where could this lower high be set? It could be set in any of these areas. All of these areas are points of interest. So before I could start looking for price to go short, I need to start seeing that lower low, lower high on the lower time frame. Right? I know it's a lot to look at, but it's very important to keep an eye on that. Yeah, I could go over it again. I got you. So gold, once again, overall, you know, it is good if you go back because there's no way I could explain it the same way I did the first time because it was going over this one and explaining it with AUD USD and giving certain examples. So you definitely want to go back to it and rewatch it. But gold again, we're just still stuck in the zone of consolidation. Right, on the daily time frame, there's nothing to talk about that we haven't talked about. On the 4-hour time frame, we're stuck in another zone of consolidation, which we could see better on the 30-minute. Price still hasn't given us valid break of the highs. Again, we're still testing these highs, which is where we took the trade. Right, gave us the inducement of the high, gave us an exhaustion candle. After the exhaustion candle, it gave us that after the exhaustion candle, it gave us a 1-minute engulfing candle going short. With the engulfing candle, we got price giving us a change of character, break of structure, back to the bottom of the zone of consolidation. Right? Just back to the bottom, a little pullback. So now, if price gives us a valid break of these highs, then I'll start looking for price to continue back to the top side. If price comes back to these highs and does the same thing, gives us exhaustion candles, gives us an inducement, we'll start to look to take these trades from the top going back down to the bottom. So that's pretty much it for gold. Again, once we break out of these zones of consolidations, then that's when I'll start looking to take the trades. But for right now, just waiting it out for a little bit longer. Any questions about that? Let me know. Any questions at all? Any other pairs you want me to go over? Let me know. If not, we'll be done for the night and we'll be back tomorrow morning for the live trading session at 7 a.m. No questions? All right. Check the Discord. No questions in the Discord. All right. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out. Peace. Peace out.